Most people say technology provides more jobs than it removes, and generally that has been true. During the Industrial Revolution, millions of jobs were provided by new emerging industries at the time, because at that point a lot of human labor was required to build and operate these machines, as well as the infrastructure surrounding them, such as highways, railroads, airports, the electrical grid, and so on. However, in the past few decades, things have begun to change as automation has become increasingly common. Automation is essentially the removal of the inefficient human element in any given process, replacing it with more efficient machine labor. For example, a factory assembling widgets that previously employed over 100 workers may now only require a handful of technicians to oversee the machines, which largely operate by themselves. And in a decade or two, there might not even be any human input required at all. Automated machines can manufacture products 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They require no sleep, they don't complain, protest, or go on strike. They don't need medical benefits, vacations, or a pension. They are basically the perfect workers, some might even call them slaves. Humans just can't compete with that. Even in China, the land of cheap labor, companies are starting to replace their factory workers with robots. Some people would argue that when the car replaced the horse and carriage, it may have destroyed the horse and carriage industry, but the auto industry sprung up instead and provided many new jobs, and that is indeed true. The difference between that and automation is that automation is designed to replace human labor with machine labor to cut down costs. Humans are anatomically constrained, and we make what we call human errors. But machines can be designed and optimized from the start to do a specific set of tasks extremely efficiently and repeat those tasks without making a single mistake. But automation isn't applied only in manufacturing. As technology evolves, automation becomes cheaper and more feasible, and it is being adopted in many new industries and applications. Many jobs have already been eliminated by technology. Computers and PBX software got rid of telephone operators, ATMs replaced most bank tellers, websites like Kayak, Expedia, and others have taken most customers from travel agents. But many more jobs are on the chopping block as technology and automation move to make them obsolete in what is usually referred to as technological unemployment. For example, automated checkouts are becoming an increasingly common sight in supermarkets and other stores. Previously, a store might have needed to employ a dozen cashiers to man the checkout counters, but now automated checkouts only require a few security guards to monitor them and help the customers if they have problems with the machines. Automated pharmacy systems have reduced the amount of pharmacists needed to operate the pharmacy and improved their performance significantly as well. Paralegals and lawyers spend a lot of their time sifting through huge piles of legal paperwork, which can take days or even weeks depending on the case. But nowadays, there are emerging technologies like e-discovery systems which can do the same work in only a few hours. Narrative Science is a company that has developed software that can automatically write certain types of news stories like sports or financial news when provided with the relevant data, such as which team scored goals in a match or what stocks went up or down in value. Self-driving cars, trucks, and other vehicles are also on the horizon and may begin to replace truck drivers, taxi drivers, and other workers in the transportation industry within 10 to 15 years. But not even skilled jobs like doctors or surgeons are safe from automation. Most doctors have trouble staying up to date with research from their own medical fields, let alone all medical fields, and the medical data of their own patients. The best doctor in the world will be a machine, because a machine can have real-time access to the latest medical research from around the globe in all medical fields, as well as the data of millions of patients. One such machine is already in development. It's called IBM Watson. This is where we go from simple automation to artificial intelligence. which has the potential of eventually taking over any human job, especially when combined with a humanoid android body. Now, all of these new technologies and industries do create some amount of jobs and opportunities, in addition to making our lives richer and more convenient. I mean, obviously, we need more programmers to write software for all these electronic devices we have, and engineers and scientists to develop new gadgets and hardware components. But these jobs are different than the ones we had before. First of all, in terms of raw quantity, it's doubtful that they will replace the millions of jobs rendered obsolete by technology and automation. Secondly, the barrier for entry to be employed by the big corporations of the future like Google, Microsoft or Apple is extremely high even for smaller positions. Walmart may hire a mediocre cashier with little work experience, but nobody is going to hire a mediocre software developer, graphic designer or engineer. Not only is there a smaller quantity of jobs provided by these new industries, but they are also more difficult to transition to for many people. For example, let's say sometime in the near future, a 40-year-old truck driver loses his job because self-driving trucks take over the transportation industry. Is it reasonable and realistic to assume that this former trucker will quickly become a proficient programmer or engineer? I mean, usually it takes 4 to 5 years or more to get that kind of a degree, and unemployment benefits run out much sooner. Not to mention it can get quite expensive in some places, and there's no guarantee of employment, just a guarantee of student debt. I'm not a Luddite by any means. I think technology is awesome. It has provided human society with many benefits and will continue to do so in the foreseeable future. Automation is particularly fantastic because it has the potential to free us from pointless jobs and allow us to focus on our higher aspirations as individuals and as a society. But in an economy where most people rely on their labor to provide for themselves and their family, automation may be a very destructive force. At the end of the day, more automation means corporations stay more competitive and more profits are passed on to shareholders. Seeing as generating profit is the primary objective of a corporation, they're going to do it. But automation will also have some externalized effects that may not affect these companies immediately or directly, but it will eventually come around and bite them in the ass. More automation also means less jobs. Less jobs means people have less money to spend. Less spending means less consumption, and less consumption means lower revenues and profit, so corporations will be forced to cut costs even further and keep doing it for a long time. It's basically a death spiral. So we have to eventually start thinking about other ways to run the economy and society. Otherwise, we might end up in some kind of neo-feudal corporate capitalist nightmare with a lot of civil unrest, violence and suffering, something you'd expect from a cyberpunk novel but not reality. But all is not lost. There are some potential options out there, such as basic income, the steady-state economy and the resource-based economy, maybe even a combination of those. These are some of the subjects I'll be exploring in future videos. Hopefully you found this video interesting and enlightening, and if you did, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. So yeah, that's all I got for now, and I will see you later.